Welcome back to Just One Question 2.0 2022 version. And here we are again with Angela Chee, and it's a real thrill to connect with you again and see that you are indeed still alive and kicking out there in the western part of this great country. Angela, for those who don't know her, and you should, is a keynote speaker. She's an on-camera and communications coach. And she's a host. She is the host of the Power of the Only podcast. Welcome, Angela. It's great to see you again. How are you doing?
Oh, so great to see you again. I love connecting with you, and I can just feel your energy. So yeah, excited to get started.
Wonderful. So looking forward into 2022, and as we were saying before we hit the record button, this will probably air early spring, something like that. So what do you imagine is going to be happening then? What are you excited about for 2022?
You know, I'm so excited for 2022. And I'm not just saying that. I feel like 2021, I don't even remember. 2022 was very, right? 2022 was like all these pivoting things happen. We're moving, we're shaking, we're dealing with resilience, trying to figure things out. And 2021, we just got on with it. But it just kind of existed. And 2022, I think there's an energy shift. I think whatever anyone was going through, I've done a lot of talks on resilience and different things. We need to do our kind of internal healing, and everyone may be on a different journey depending on what they've gone through with their business, with their leadership, with their families. And I feel like the new energy shift, especially there was a little bit of lag, I think, in the beginning of 2022, but I'm so excited. Just energetically, I'm very into feeling and energy. And as a speaker, I say, you know, the feeling is the most important. What energy do you want to bring to the situation? And sometimes you can bring the energy, but it doesn't feel the same, right? When the world is dealing with things. But 2022, I feel like for me, you know, the middle, like as we move forward, there is definitely a shift in energy. And I think that then we need to meet that energy with what we want and our intentions and how we want to show up, and kind of block out the other things in the world, because, you know, it's time to move forward with our work and how we want to contribute.
Yes, I love that. And I think it's going to correspond with a sense that whatever happens with the pandemic, it will be something that we're going to start looking at in the rearview mirror, just because humanity works that way. We sometimes take a while to get used to new things, and especially tricky things like infectious disease. But eventually we get the hang of it and we say, all right, we can cope with that. We can figure out a way to work around it, live with it, coexist with it, and move forward anyway. To date, humanity hasn't been stopped, and that's a testament to our success as a species. But it is a wonderful thing, and it's great to hear that energy coming from you. And I can't resist just a follow up. So we've learned something, of course, from this time in the virtual world. What do you think your mix of virtual and face-to-face activities are going to be in the future? And I won't hold you to it. I'm just curious what you're feeling right now.
You know, I'm super excited. I know a lot of people are still dealing with different things at different times, and it's going to happen. I think we've learned to deal. We were talking about hybrid versus in person. So I did my first in-person talk last year, towards the latter of last year, and it was so nice to be in person, you know, obviously with different rules and regulations. I didn't get to do the handshaking and the interaction. I stood on the stage. We were kind of distant, but I still had that connection. Right. I did a distance Q&A where I could still be with people, but not so close, coming up. And then we kind of took a pause when the pandemic kind of picks up again. And we just have to be able to ebb and flow. I have lots of virtual talks, you know, there's some master classes, some 3-day seminars, but I think people were a little bit burnt out with virtual, but I still think it has its place. There are things that we can reinforce, things that aren't necessarily big events, right? Sometimes we have these big events that we were so looking forward to, but sometimes small, intimate, connected individual events. Like I've done things for companies where we do breakouts, right? Where we split up different groups, and it does feel more connected. So I think moving forward, I'm so excited. I do have some things on the calendar that are in person. I'm hoping that as we move through and we know how to deal with, you know, COVID testing, that we're all safe. Many people have immunity already, been vaccinated, that we will be able to have that in-person connection, because I feel like it's so important, you know, being on that stage and seeing people again. That is important. So I do have some scheduled live events that people will be interacting and networking, but some companies didn't feel the need to do that. They still have postponed a lot of their events. So in the same month, I have some live events and I have a lot of virtual. And I think virtual is great as well, because the main thing is that you have to know your audience and you have to know your objective and what do you want to create for that audience. You don't want to just do a bunch of virtual seminars because, oh, the event got canceled, let's do a whole bunch of virtual seminars, because people are tuned out. But if you can find a way to connect with them and use the different tools that you have, that we have, trainings, master classes, interactive, smaller sessions, breakout, music, interactivity, and it's not just, watching an online course or watching a master class. I think sometimes virtual can be even better, but nothing takes the place of real in-person connection. So I still hope that that does move forward, but I'm excited. I have a You Amplified, Own Your Voice, Own Your Power, Step Into Your Leadership keynote that I'm still doing. And then for my online ones, some of them are topics on resilience or a specific on-camera trainings on how do you have more executive presence. So some of my online ones are a little more tactical and a little more training-like, or interactive, where people can talk to me and we can kind of be in a big group setting. So I think each has its place.
Wonderful. Yes, I think you're absolutely right. They have different strengths and weaknesses, in person and virtual. That nothing's going to replace, until we humans evolve and hardwire ourselves differently. Nothing's going to replace that need for the kind of communal sharing that in person allows.
Yes.
But you can go deep. I think you alluded to this, the opportunity for smaller groups and more intense sessions, for people who have something strong that they share in common, or they can find to work on together in common. I think that can be a very effective use of the virtual, and of course, lots of practical savings and efficiencies to do with the virtual. So yeah, there's a role for both, and finding out exactly what that is going to be fascinating. I love your optimistic projection of it. So here's to 2022. Angela Chee, everybody, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. So yeah, it's time for the organizers as well as the speakers. We've integrated, we've created new things, and now we can really put them out in the world that serves the audience the best. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm super excited to be here.